Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I am your host, Kari, and Anne is with me tonight. Hi, Anne.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Kari.
Hi.
Kari's been gone for a little while, so I'm so glad that Hannah Swensen has brought her back so I can podcast with her because
I
I
know.
love
Oh
her.
my gosh, I know. I have taken and still on actually a little leave of absence from all things Hallmark, podcasting, the comics that I draw. I haven't really drawn one in probably a year, but my
Mhm.
family, I feel like I can only do one thing well at a time. You know what I mean? Like one hobby at least to obsess over at a time. Like I can't do too many. But my family started a foster care journey. Like we just started to do some foster care, and we've had a little girl in our home for 7 months, and she
Oh,
recently just went back to her mom, which is always the thing
hard.
you hope for,
What you want, but it's also hard.
it is hard. It is a beautiful but very intense thing to be
I
a
can't
part of.
even imagine. I mean, that would be
Yeah.
because you form attachments and you care and love, this person. They've been a part of your family for 7 months and your
Yeah.
kids, cover your
Yeah.
kids' lives. And so
Yeah.
it's an amazing gift. But I can imagine the separation would be very hard.
Yeah. And I keep having to remind myself, okay, she was with us for 7 months. She's with her mom for 7 years. Like there's just no comparison really. What it it's hard, and maybe a foster care, you give them a safe place for a little while mom can get on her feet again, um and that's all you're there for. That you're not there to like swoop in and save someone, or like
Mhm.
we did not foster to adopt. I know that some people do like
Yeah.
foster with that long-term goal of
Mhm.
the kids have nowhere else to go. And so it was different for us, but my respect for people who foster more than once, but even once, I mean, foster and adopt, and or safe families, anything like that. It's just amazing. It matters. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's something that
Yes.
matters.
Because like
So
you said, your family, sacrifices and just loves on this child
yeah,
while, their parent is
yeah,
going through getting better, whatever
yeah,
they need to do so that they can support and be there for their child,
yeah,
hopefully in the future. And, that's an
yeah.
important part that you played that I know that she'll remember. So,
I I hope she does. And I feel like that is she will be in our hearts. She will be in our hearts for forever, I think, and um it's it's a really special thing, but it is exhausting. I feel
mhm.
like
Sorry, I'm a
we're still
crier.
like
I'm a crier. I cry real easy, just like whoop. It's just, but because I just know like how much your family just must have just loved her so much
yeah,
and just cared for her, and
yeah,
that's what she needed and that's what she got, and that
yeah,
just that
yeah.
touches me and it makes me emotional,
uh,
and I know that you guys will miss her, and that makes me emotional
yeah.
too.
Thanks. Thank you, Anne. Thank you
Yeah.
for just entering in that way with us, because we didn't realize that opening our home and our hearts to her, we were
Mhm.
asking a lot of people in our sphere of life to do the same thing. She came to us to Michigan with my extended family for Christmas, and so
Oh,
here we're asking them to be like, do you
yeah.
mind filling her stocking, that type of thing. Like
Yeah,
we
you're a
brought
gift,
things, they did things, and
yeah.
we're asking our school system, open your classroom to this foster child who may not be here for the whole year, but they
Oh,
just opened their hearts to her and just taught her like she was, like there from day one. And it's been so beautiful to see people at our church, kind of coming around her, and just how everybody is willing, you know.
yeah,
That was really, really cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we felt really supported. Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's that type of thing though that I felt like I have no more brain space to do like
Oh,
anything
yeah,
else.
no. And especially she was younger than I know all of your other children. So
Yeah,
that's
I have
more
teenagers.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
3 teenagers and, she's a first grade girl, so we were coming home and learning to read and doing her little
Oh,
math
yeah.
and,
That's
um
essential time. Yeah, that's a very essential time in learning.
yeah.
Yeah.
She learned how to ride a bike here, which was so cool. She lost, like, all of her teeth. She did, like, all of these seven-year-old things that you're supposed to do, so
Oh no.
I know. It was fun. I was like, "Oh, no, I have to be the tooth fairy again," you know?
Oh yeah. See, you had to like relearn how to, yeah, be like a little kid's mom, you know?
I know. I know. So it was a really good experience, and good can mean so many things, can't it? It doesn't always mean that it's the happiest thing you've ever done
Yeah.
or the easiest thing you've ever done, good can be a hard thing and a
That's
challenging thing, and
so true.
but it's still good,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's what it was. So, well, that's what we've been up to. What have you been up to?
I've been on some trips recently and back at work, back at home in California.
Good.
And yeah, looking forward to summer and hopefully it's not nice here right now, but it's like in the 60s. But looking forward to when it gets warmer, swimming and different things.
Yes.
So yeah.
Is this your second summer in California?
It is my second summer here. And this is how it
Mhm.
was last year too. It doesn't really get to be summer until like the true summer solstice,
Okay.
whatever, like closer to like mid-June to late June. That's when
Okay.
it gets warmer, which is really weird when you're from the South and it's hot,
Yes.
like right now or in the beginning of May.
Right.
So you're just like, wait, why is it like 55 degrees? But yeah, I'm looking forward to summer and
Good.
yeah, Christmas in July and just, you know,
All of that good stuff. All
yeah.
of the good Hallmark stuff that kind of marks our seasons, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised that a new Hannah Swensen was on its way. It felt like, you know,
Yeah.
enough time had lapsed from last year's
Mhm.
revamp of the Murder She Baked series to be Hannah Swensen. That I was like, are we doing this? Are we not doing this? You know, are
I
we?
know because it was already resurrected, and it's like, okay, you're gonna resurrect it for like one movie? That would seem weird.
Always
So
seems so weird. But okay, so this is fun though, because I know you and I love covering this series. We, to any listeners out there, you can go back to the Hallmarkies archives and listen to Anne and I cover all of the Murder She Baked movies, last year's revival of the Hannah Swensen mysteries. And so now it's just really fun to come back and see all of our old favorites with this great cast and the carrot cake mysteries. Allison Sweeney, Cameron Matheson, Gabriel Hogan, Barbara
yeah.
Niven. I mean,
Yes. And
faithful.
Cameron told Rachel it's Moisha is the same cat. That's what he said. I'm like,
Really?
this cat must be old. Like, how old is this cat? Like that seems crazy. When he was
Did
like,
wonder.
when she was saying like, oh, the cast has like, been kept together pretty well. And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, like even Moisha is, the same cat as this whole time. I'm like, wow.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Funny. Now I'm going to regret bringing this up because I know listeners are so sharp and they're like on this stuff. Was the chief of police though? Was it a woman last time?
Ooh,
I know.
don't
Shoot, I shouldn't have
remember.
even brought it up. Someone out
I
there
don't
will tell us.
remember. Yeah, someone's gonna tell us because I can't remember if in the last Hannah Swensen it was a woman.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get corrected on that or affirmed. But I had thought, oh, this is a cool new direction. We're going with a female chief of police, but oh, she was someone from headquarters who would come in. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't doesn't matter to this movie right now, but all right. Let's jump in. Let's talk about a carrot cake murder mystery, a carrot cake mystery, Hannah Swensen Mysteries. I do want to say we are going to talk spoilers. You have to.
Oh yeah.
On a recap, you have to talk spoilers. This is not a preview show. So just buckle in. And how did you like this movie? What did you like about it? Just some of those old the sweet things that we like about the Hannah Swensen movies. We already said the cast.
Yes, I really liked before the part we won't talk about. I really liked like the sweet moments with Hannah and Mike, like when he falls asleep at the bakery, like trying to make sure she's okay, and she like kisses him awake. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
They're like sitting on the bench having like a picnic and just kind of like all cuddled up. And you know, I always like the scenes when they just have like scenes together.
Yes.
You know, they kind of, I feel like Joanna Fluke, or is she the one who writes the movies too, the screenplay?
No, she doesn't write the movies,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's based on her book series. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whoever adapts it, or if they adapt it directly from, you know, scenes in the books, they do a good job adding some like sweet, you know, little cozy moments for us. And I really like that about this series.
Yeah. But I do too. And forever, I think what we've said is that like I would watch this series if it was a cooking show, if it was a romantic comedy, but it's a mystery series, but it has so many elements that are really stable with like the relationships, and you're invested in the characters, and they keep you invested by showing.
Like I love Dolores too, you know. I just think she's so funny. And Barbara Niven is so good. She does such a good job. It's just crazy. Like I was watching this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's just so good. And she's so fun. I love the character.
She's so over the top, but it works. It totally works. And so Norman, weren't you surprised to see him like still in the series?
Yeah, like so much. Not just like, oh hey, like you popped in from the dentist to get a cookie, but like he's like in the fabric of this movie like a lot. And I'm like, what's happening? Like what? Like I knew it was a girlfriend, but it was just kind of weird.
I know. Like they are. So Mike and Hannah are engaged, and they've been engaged now for like 2 movies, like 2 whole movies. And yet they kind of bring it up mid-movie, like we haven't even started planning a wedding yet. And they're like, no, we're fine. And so you do start like these little doubts, these little seeds of doubt kind of come in where you're like, what is going on?
And Dolores is still on Team Norman. So you're just like, is she like, what is happening? She still like thinks he's just the best man in town, you know?
She totally does. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I loved her going undercover, helping out with the mystery a little bit. Michelle taking pictures. Michelle, the younger sister, is around and kind of has this like little dark humor about her. You know, she just kind of, she wasn't as into, she was on screen a lot, but she wasn't as intricate to the storyline this time. But so well, I did find it really charming that they just keep Hannah. She is a baker. We all know that. But that is her bread and butter. That's her day job. And they like have these elements of narration over, you know, her making bread. And she talks about life and bread. And like you mentioned, they have that scene where she keeps baker's hours, you know, like you wonder, she's running around all night solving these mysteries. And then when does she get up and bake her cookies, you know? So they kind of, they go back to that a lot. They say cookies, they say cakes, they say names of desserts that you want to try.
Yeah, and they show her cooking, and I'm always like, gosh, I just wish I had a carrot cake bundt cake or something so I could eat it, or just anything. I mean, it just all looks so good. I mean,
I
oh my God.
know. I know. I love that though about this series, that they really keep that a main characteristic of her. And it's not like, what does she do again? Oh yeah, she's a librarian. No. Oh
Yeah. You remember she's a baker because she's bringing, stuff to the police station, or bringing stuff to kind of bribe people to give her information, or taking something to the hospital, or catering somebody. She's always just
Yes.
driving in her cookie jar van.
Yes.
They really keep that really consistent and strong. I mean,
Yeah. I think that's just a really cool element. Just keeps the continuity, keeps it familiar in such a good way, because that's what we love. We love that about this. So, all right. Okay. So we have all these characters that we love. Yes, we have their development and plots and storylines, which we'll talk about. But as all that's happening, we have a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did you think of this mystery? Like, I guess I just found it to be a little like,
For me, I just felt like it had a lot of moving parts. I guess because it was like the mystery of Eugene plus this whole other mystery, and so I was like trying to make sure I was like keeping track of everything that was going on. And I didn't guess who it was until they approach Travis at the end, and I'm like, oh, it's not him.
That's exactly it. And I think that's the thing where that was in the last 20 minutes, I think. And it made me go, oh, okay. Like I got my interest back again. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So really it's a cold case. It's a cold case that Hannah stumbles upon. They have this historic landmark that is going to be torn down or something, and people don't want it to be torn down. So there's like this rally protest. Well, what gets them into the building, Hannah stumbles upon a skeleton because of an explosion, right?
Yeah.
So there's an explosion. Hannah and Norman just go into the building. Not a big deal.
Yeah, just calling, seeing if anyone needs help, if anyone's in there. Just open, unlock, just going in there. Hey, anybody need help? Anybody?
They don't know if there's more bombs or more explosions gonna happen. They just go in.
Yeah. Caution out the window.
Oh,
just go in, follow danger.
Totally. So they like just full steam ahead, enter this building that just had an explosion. They see this flashlight, they follow it and all this stuff. So they find a skeleton that ends up being a 25-year-old skeleton, a dead man named Jerry McDowell.
Oh, McDowell. Yeah, McDowell.
Jerry McDowell. And ultimately, the police don't think that the cold case of the body is worth necessarily looking into. They don't know if it's a murder. They don't know anything. They just want to know what happened, what caused the explosion in this building.
Yeah. Which is just, of course, I just kind of disagree with that just as a human being. I'm like, okay, you're not worried about this body that you don't know, like,
right,
who it is or what happened to them. Like, they were still a person, a long time ago, but still worth like finding out. But they just seemed or the chief was like totally not interested in solving it.
Not interested. And I think right away, Hannah Swensen, of course, thinks that there's foul play. There's foul play here. What did he just, I think, did Mike even say, what do you think? He just fell asleep in the bottom of a elevator shaft? Like, how are we not seeing that there's probably foul play here?
Yeah, exactly.
So she's interested. She wants justice for this body. He's not given the go ahead to investigate this body, but he encourages her. Mike now is like, go for it. Here's
Yeah.
access to my files.
Mm-hmm.
Come and let's scrounge around for evidence. I mean, he was at one point, I was like, he's being so cute. Like, he's totally encouraging her.
Mm-hmm.
He's totally like loves this side of her, loves her brain, loves her questions. And he's like, go for it. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah, because he knows like he really can't. I think he finally, accepted like it's just this is part of Hannah. She enjoys this. She's good at it. I mean,
Yeah.
she wants to know, find out what happened to people whenever anything happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. She really cared. And it seemed like, 25 years ago, she's like, I've lived here for so long. I don't remember that. I don't remember a guy named Jerry McConnell. So they have, through some files, old contract files on the building, files. Oh, they found his ID, so they knew who he was. He was a thief. At one time, he was like a petty thief. He robbed a jewelry store. So the police had a file on him and all this stuff. So she kind of gathers information that this Jerry was, connected to a couple. He had an accomplice named Travis. He had an ex-wife named Julianne. And then this guy Eugene kind of like was connected somehow. So she identifies 3 suspects right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're all still pretty local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they all have been like near or around, the building, the protests, that area.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of them too, established business owners, upstanding citizens for the most part, so she kind of just goes down this little rabbit trail trying to get all of them and figure out something about all of them as suspects, but it just leads nowhere. It just gets nowhere. So what about the red herring of Eugene? What did you think about that? Were you convinced he was a part of it somehow?
I was just like, why doesn't he want to answer her questions, and why is he kind of stonewalling? And I was like, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, it was like he wasn't who he said he was. And I was like, well, why would somebody, not be who they say they were unless they've done something bad?
Yeah.
And so then I was like questioning him, but then I was like, I don't think it's him. But then I was like, but they're gonna not waste time. I was like, but it's gonna take, they still want to know this too. This is gonna take up some of the time in this story as well.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting choice, since it wasn't like it was him.
I know. And I think that was it totally was a red herring because they spent a lot of time on this storyline.
Yeah.
He's a childhood friend of Norman's.
Mhm.
Always remember Eugene around, part of the family type of thing, restaurant owner. And so Norman was thrown like, oh no, he's not who he said he was. But come to find out, he did have a stolen identity and a stolen social security card because of a tragic thing that happened in his past.
Mhm.
So he wasn't really involved with this scene.
Yeah, with the actual scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there was some overlap with the people. He knew the people involved, that crowd, he said, because what was it? He borrowed money.
Yeah, from Jerry.
From a loan shark. And I actually, to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure if that was Jerry or if it was this Wyatt Avery character who we never met.
Yeah, we never saw.
He was the shady contractor. And I think he just was a loan shark. So contracting was his, his business, but he was a loan shark.
Okay, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, no, that sounds right.
Okay. So Eugene was involved basically because he needed a loan to open his restaurant, which just coincided at the same time as all of the Jerry stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think his backstory was tragic.
That was really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did they, how did they find that? How did they find that out? Do you remember? It was they looked up the insurance or something.
Yeah, they found his insurance card and they looked at the insurance and then I forgot Norman said something and then all of a sudden there was like a death certificate on the screen. And then they're like, wait, what? This can't be right. Like he's not dead and the dates were all messed up and
Yeah.
like what's going on? And they're
Yeah.
like, they double checked it again, like, no, like still it's not right. Like something's wrong. Like,
Yeah.
who's Eugene? And so then it was, yeah.
You're right. I think it's from there you have all these questions. They're like, what? So they go to his house and kind of snoop around his house.
Hmm.
She did so much bending of the rules and bending of the laws.
Oh yeah.
So they find these newspaper clippings about his past,
Yeah.
really. And they get
Mhm.
in touch with his niece, his current niece. And I guess what happened was she was a young girl and her mom died. And so her dad was raising her, and his uncle Ellis is what his name was, Uncle Ellis. Well, one day he just up and leaves and disappears and like assumes a new identity and changes, starts his life over. Well, what happened, I guess, was he took the fall for his brother who got in a drunk driving accident, whiskey all over the car and stuff like that, and took the fall for him, let him stay with his daughter to raise her so he didn't have to face the consequences of his huge mistake. And Ellis just took that and ran.
Mhm.
Um,
Identity. Yeah.
so sad.
Yeah, that was a lot. I was like, man. And then, she's over, the niece is in there overhearing, what really happened,
Mhm,
which I think it made her feel better
mhm.
about Ellis because she's like, oh, you didn't just like run off to leave us.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
were trying to, protect my dad so that he
Mhm.
could be with me because
Yeah.
I'd already lost my mom,
Yeah.
her mom. So
So, I mean, you can tell already by the time that we've invested in this on the recap, they invested in
they
this
really did. They invested a good amount of time in this part. Yeah.
so much about this Ellis, who's this character we've never seen before, but he's a good friend of Norman's, which made Norman have so much screen time and like this wrestling and the solving of a mystery of Ellis and all this stuff. So really, truly a red herring up until the end, where they're like, okay, it's not Eugene. Eugene wasn't involved in this whole thing. Let's get back to this whole mystery. Like, okay.
Okay, now like back to the other suspects. Yeah.
I know. Back to the other suspects. Oh man.
From the author of the Friendships and Festival series comes a story of what's next, second chances, and making life and hockey better for ourselves and others. But a Mitzvah Mistake kicks off Stacey Agdern's Last Girl Standing series and is available on June 1st from Thule Publishing and everywhere books are sold. For more about Stacey, go to her website, staceyagdern.com.
Okay. Assuming most people who are listening to this have watched it, let's just jump kind of right to when did you know that it wasn't, the ex-wife was pretty suspect for a while, but
Mhm.
when did you rule her out?
I don't know. I think I wasn't really sure because they were really trying to make her suspicious, and she like, she was just like basically like, I don't care that he's dead. I've moved
Yeah.
on. I don't want to open this again. She's like all just kind of dismissive, and I'm like, well, that's something somebody who's guilty would say, but I'm like, it can't
Right.
be her. That's too obvious. And but I didn't really rule her out. And then she had that weird that when Dolores went undercover and they like tried to make it seem like, oh, she's gonna like take out a nail file and stab her or something. She just like takes out the cuticle, thing,
Yeah.
which is also scary. But not as scary as like a nail file. Well, if you stab somebody. And I was like, okay, that was weird. But then, well, when she kind of left there, I was kind of like, oh, I don't think it's her.
Yeah.
I'm not totally convinced, but I was like, I don't really think it's her.
Yeah.
And then when they went to see Travis, that's when I was like, oh, I was like, okay, it's not him. He's trying to take the fall for his kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he just seemed too surprised about the keys, and he's
Yes.
genuinely surprised. And so I was like, this must be, you know,
Mhm.
he's trying to go to jail because he realizes, oh, my son must have,
Yeah. And so I was trying to think about, so we have this accident, this murder, whatever happened in 1995. And then all three of these suspects, came into money, bought a house, started a business, bought a salon in 1996. And so all of them have this, all of a sudden, this surge of wealth, which no one can trace. So that goes back to the robbery. There was this robbery that Jerry and Travis were a part of. And then Travis's son, Joe, was a part of it, not Eugene, not Julie, the ex-wife, Julianne. But everyone kind of benefits from this robbery and cashes in because no one ever got caught because, Jerry dies and all this stuff. So that kind of has Hannah swimming for a little while. And ultimately, everything that she found out about Julianne was just also kind of a red herring. Just, she was the ex-wife. She probably was having an affair with Travis. That's why they were still talking or something. Even like in the building, they like came out from behind the building together one time. They never really explained what they were doing. It just kind of threw us off track.
That's true. They didn't explain it. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just there to look suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah. And then these keys that she finds by the dead body, but she's like, the keys aren't 25 years old. They're more like 15 years old. And that's like, oh, they can't be Jerry's or the killer's. I'm like, yeah, but how did they still get down there?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're still down. The keys were a huge part of it. A huge part of them finding
that's
out.
true. They never explained how they got down there with the body.
No.
That was a big clue. And then, she was testing them all, and then that was what, threw Travis into, oh no,
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm guessing, unless part of the movie told me this and I just forget the part, but when the explosion happened, Joe was there. He was the one with the flashlight.
It must have been that he was there and he was the one with the flashlight, and that
he dropped his keys.
Or they got, somehow got down there.
Like they interrupted him. So then he like follows her the whole movie, basically in a creepy way.
Yeah.
Tries to like hurt her at some points and stuff. But
I mean, like he tried to, get all those cement blocks off the scaffolding to fall on her.
Yes, which is what sent Eugene into the hospital.
Which made us find out about all of his stuff.
Right.
And then luckily Mike's, figured out the light was like booby trapped, and he used the, whatever he had, umbrella or something. And it was like, that was if she would have got up there and like touched it with her hand, that would have been bad.
Been electrocuted.
Yeah.
So, the whole time, you are like, nobody's suspecting Joe really the whole time, but it does make sense when they've had the keys, you see the guitar and the keys. Travis recognizes the keys and admits to the murder, like takes the fall immediately for his son. But that's when she's like, no, wait, what were you gonna say? This doesn't make sense. What were you gonna say? So I was like, what is his motive? So Travis did not kill Jerry. He's taking the fall for his son. But his son, you're like, what's his motive? Like, wait a minute, what? Do you remember what they said, what Travis said what his motive was?
Well, I think it was an accident. I don't think he meant to kill him.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is like, it was an accident. He didn't mean to kill him. Then he just freaked out and just pulled, the body, and then it just, into the elevator shaft. And then it's just been down there for 25 years.
I know. He said, I was just an idiot kid. And my sister, my daughter looked at me and she was like, 25 He would
I
have
know. I
been
was like,
ten.
how old was he? That was my biggest question. I'm like, how old is Joe supposed to be? He's a teenager, but this is 25 years ago. I was like, what?
He still looked really young. He
He
looked
still
like,
looks too young to have this be 25 years ago if he was like 17 or whatever.
I know if he was 17, it was 25 years ago. He would have been 43. He would have been my age. And I'm like, he did
He
not
looked-
look 40
No,
in his
he didn't.
40s.
He looked maybe 34 or something.
Yes.
He didn't, because I was like, this isn't adding up. He doesn't look old enough to have
No.
done this when he's a teenager, and then
Yeah. So even that, there were things that I was like, wow, they're really just explaining this to us. Like I didn't feel like I was a part of solving the mystery and, oh, that's my theory and that's this person. Like I kind of just felt like I was sitting back and they were telling me what was happening.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't my favorite necessarily, like mystery storyline, and it didn't intrigue me too much. But what came to play in Hannah and Mike's relationship as they were trying to plot along and figure this mystery out, that was intriguing to me. Oh my goodness. So where does the conflict start with Hannah and Mike? Because they look super cute at the beginning. He's super encouraging. Moisha has a little foreshadowing, like she has little problems with him. Norman's still in the picture, but where did their little conflict start?
I think because he said it twice, his captain kind of said to him, keep Hannah on a short leash. What is Hannah doing at a crime scene? You need to keep her, out of this. And, he kind of keeps like dropping these things, and he's like, do you like your job? And, he's like kind of coming hard. And I'm just like, okay, who are you, guy we've never seen before? And why are you so against Hannah? Jeez.
I totally thought the same thing. Like, whoa, who even are you that you're threatening Mike here over Hannah? Hannah, who was thrown in prison, last movie. She had to suffer some consequences of her sleuthing, but it seemed like Mike was starting to find a rhythm of, okay, this is my fiance. She loves this stuff. She's actually really good at it. So I'm intrigued. I actually have orders not to pursue the death, but just to pursue the explosion. So you can see he was intrigued, like, yeah, I want to hear your findings on this. Until he was put in a really hard spot with his boss, who said, I want her off. Like, don't let her do this.
Yeah.
But when she kept doing it, he said, well, then tell me what she finds. Report it. If it's going to help us, then you should report it. And then Mike had to start reporting it behind her back.
Yeah.
He tried. Sometimes he tried, right?
No, I think he did. Because then at one point he knew he was in a bad spot, because he was trying to get Hannah to just drop it, because he knew, like, okay, like my boss, has already told me, like, basically threatened my job. And, I know that, and I don't want you to get hurt because I feel like someone's following you. And, I don't want this to, cross into each other. So.
Yeah. He just let it go on too long. He was trying to please his boss, and he should have just said, Hannah, my boss is telling me this, and you can't pursue this anymore. Or I got to tell you, you can, but everything you tell me, I'm going to tell the force. Like, I have to.
It's
just be upfront with her.
Exactly. Because from personal experience, when someone else tells you about somebody else that you're close to, and before they can tell you, someone else tells you their betrayal, lie, whatever, it's just so much. It's always bad, because
always
the
bad.
person feels hurt, the person feels betrayed because some other person came and told them something about about something you did. Or in this case, it happened right in front of her.
Yeah.
Like, you know, her sister came and told her, but it was just like it happened right in front of her. And it was like Mike hadn't said anything. And then it was
And
just,
he goes like this. He goes like,
he knows. He's like,
he knows.
he knows, he feels bad. He's barely listening to him because he's looking at Hannah because he knows. And she's
Yeah.
like, just go, like her, you know, they're trying to put us in her shoes.
Yeah.
Like her hearing, her sight, she's like, what? And she's just
Yeah.
kind of like, what's happening?
Yeah.
She was feeling a lot of things
Yeah.
in that moment.
Well, so many things, and rightly so, because, you know, in trying to play it his boss's way, he also tried to play it Hannah's way and led her to believe that they weren't telling the police until they had it all wrapped up. You know, he even said a few times, should you stop? She said no. And he said, well, then should we tell the chief? And she said, no, let's not do that yet. And he's like,
yeah, he was, I mean, I think Mike did everything he could. I mean, he should have told her, but he was really trying to get the pieces together, or he was
Yeah.
trying to tell her, hey, let's tell my boss because we have this much. And she's like, I don't want to tell him until I have everything. And then
he should have been like, well, he already knows.
yeah, he just said, look, Hannah, he wants me to report it because you're finding things that are good for the investigation, but he wants me to report it to him. So now I need to start reporting it to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was just painful. He just let it go on too long, and you could see the conflict in him,
Yeah.
and you could see her. You just knew it was coming.
Yeah. And I will say, full disclosure, I don't know for you, I want to know. I saw it on Twitter before I watched the movie.
What do you see?
I saw literally the words, did Hannah just give Mike her ring back?
Oh no!
What? And so I was just like, oh my gosh. And so then when I'm watching the movie like 4 days later, because I wanted it to be fresh, so I watched it. I was like, okay, I know this is coming. I'm sure it's going to be in the last 15 minutes, is what I was thinking. So I knew before. So I think that was good for me.
Okay.
I don't like surprises. And I think it helped me not be so hurt as if I had no idea and I just watched it there. I probably would have been crying because, as you saw, I'm pretty sensitive.
Yeah.
But, you know, luckily I was prepared. And so I was like, okay, I knew the bomb's about to drop. And then, you know, so I had a pre-warning. As probably heartbroken as everyone watching it on live, you know.
Yes.
Which,
I stayed off. I also stayed off social media. I didn't see anything beforehand. So I was surprised.
Yeah.
I did not know. I had not read this book of Joanne Fluke.
Oh, okay. Because I know you've read some of them. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that this was going to happen. But it's funny because as soon as it did, I was like, of course. You know, you're leading up to this the whole movie. Norman's still around. My daughter again said, I like Norman so much better than Mike in this movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can see why. I think he's just fun. You know, he's a nice guy.
He's fun and he always just supports Hannah. So
yeah, he's a good friend. But she kind of still acted, and sometimes like she was, I don't know if she had feelings, but she cared. She cared that he had maybe started dating somebody else.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Kari from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
She kind of like was checking out this new girl, and you're like, Hannah, you're engaged, girl. like, you don't have any business caring about who he's dating right now or giving any sort of vibe that there's some ownership there. Because he and his new girlfriend and Hannah were sitting in the cookie jar and they were talking, and she's like sitting next to him on his side, and she's like, trying to be very warm, but something about it, the new girlfriend said, I will fight for it. Now, she was talking about the building, but before she said that, she looked at him, looked at Hannah, looked at him, and she looked at Hannah and said, I will fight for it. And Hannah goes, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And
so
then
there was a moment.
She called her bars the wrong thing.
Yeah, and then she called her bars the wrong thing. So looking back at the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, they're keeping this triangle alive.
Which is just so interesting. I think it's so interesting. I just, like, when I saw the promo pictures and I saw how many pictures Norman was in, I was like, what? I was like, okay, they're really making Gabriel Hogan, like, they're keeping him a part of this series.
Do you still like Mike?
I do. See, I've always liked Mike, but in this movie, I can definitely see what your daughter was saying. Kind of, because I would actually agree with Rachel's term of Manny Pixic Dream Boy or Norman in this movie, because usually I like those Manny Pixic Dream Boys because they like have no problems, they're perfect, they like have no conflicts with the person, they're just kind of, and that's kind of how he was. He was just a really sweet, supportive person. He went to the house, Eugene's house with her. He went in the building, they found the body together. She would, bounce stuff off of him sometimes.
Yeah.
And, he was just there and he was just supportive. Whereas Mike has this whole conflict because of his job, because of his boss. And so it was making him just seem a certain way in this movie because he was in this like push-pull situation.
And he's always kind of been like that. He always, the way that she loves this stuff. This is like become who she is in this little community. And he always is kind of having to tell her, rein it in, tone it down. Nobody wants to be told that. You want to say, fly, little bird, go, And he's always trying to be like, be careful, let me do it. It's my official job, So there's always something a little frustrated about the two of them, but you're an amateur sleuth dating a detective. Of course, that's going to be part of it.
That's going to be an issue. It's
going to be an issue. But he said this was his problem when the fight happened and she gave back the ring. He was like, I was just doing my job. This is my boss. I was put in a hard place, which is true. And he said, any good cop would call for backup. True.
Yeah.
But she called him out. She said, do you think that's what I'm upset about?
Yeah.
Like he didn't even know that. Though that's not really what I'm upset about. I'm upset that you
didn't tell me.
Yeah.
You kept this from me and just,
Yeah.
She also, it was weird because I felt like a big part of it, like it was a big part of it that he lied and he didn't tell her. But it was like 40% that she was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was really, I don't know. I didn't, I mean, I guess I understood that, but she seemed like really embarrassed. And so I don't know. I understood the more lying, obviously, in the betrayal because of my own life. But like, I was just like, why is she like so embarrassed?
Right. Her pride was stung
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what bothered me is when she gave the ring back, it felt too dramatic to me because I'm like, is this about your ego? Because you just seem really upset that you're embarrassed. And I understand that you're upset that he didn't tell you that he strung you along. I get that. But I was like, you don't need to give the ring back for that. Like, you can be upset at him. You guys can be upset at each other for however long, have a conversation, talk about it. But I thought the giving the ring back was too much for me. I didn't.
I think I do too. I totally agree because on one hand, you can hear his desperation when he says, look at it from my perspective. Like he's just kind of pleading with her, peer to peer, adult to adult, fiance to fiance, like, do me the benefit of the doubt, give me the benefit of the doubt and look at it from my perspective just for a second, um,
Yeah.
which she owed him, I think. He owed that to her too.
Yeah.
Same, equal. Okay, let me hear your perspective. Now, please hear my perspective. Like there was a conversation that needed to have, not a here's the ring back.
Yeah. I was just like, that's just a lot. I was like, there
Okay,
definitely needs to be a conversation. I was like, but the ring back is just a
it's
lot.
big.
And
So
then
then,
the end, it's just then I was just like, okay, you guys made this so dramatic, and then now you're trying to like end it a little bit lighter so it's not so stark. And I was just like, okay, you have to pick and choose, Hallmark. You can't just make her give a ring back and then have them like trying to joke with each other at the very end.
they
Oh
did
my
try.
God.
I did appreciate seeing another scene with them though, besides just here's the
Ending
ring,
like that
walk
way.
away. I really appreciated that she came to his office
Mhm.
and they had a little conversation. And again, both of them again sticking to their guns and saying, what did he say? We both were right and we both were wrong. Like, and she's like, yeah, we both were right and we both were wrong. Like they agreed on that. And to me, that's a amazing admission to jump off and reconcile.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that she could have just stormed off like that night and just not talked to him maybe for
Yeah.
24, 48 hours, and then approached him at, his office, and then they have, or just, at his home or whatever, to
Yeah.
have a conversation, and
Yeah.
then have understanding, like, you need to like always be honest with me, about, who you're telling the information to, that
Mhm.
we gather or that I gather, and just in general always tell the truth, have
Right.
like, and then just, that just be it.
Yeah. Because there's a lot you can do when you both admit I was wrong.
Yeah.
And it takes two in a relationship. You both can be wrong and you both can be right at the same time. It's just is communication, because I think like you said about her pride, but also it was about respect, like she just felt like that, like, were you laughing at me this whole time? Were you, which has some ego part of it for sure. And it's like this, that kind of feels like you just don't respect me, at
Yeah.
all. And I mean, I think they'll make up, but I think they set themselves up for, in my mind, I want to see a scene where they make up.
Yeah. I don't want them to just skip to like 3 months later, or, they're all happy
Yeah,
or whatever. Like, you put
right.
us through this, like, you owe us a heart to heart conversation so we
And
can
I'm
see
sorry.
this
Yeah.
development. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry too, like let's move forward and
Yeah. Agree how to move forward.
if
Yeah.
right. Oh, that was a big deal. Norman is still dating somebody. He's still dating this Diane lady who very well could come back a next movie. I don't know where they're going to take some of this stuff, but um, you have to have these relationship side stories with the mystery as the main thing. But I think they have got some a hole to dig themselves out of.
I do. And I'm traumatized from Mystery 101. So
I
the only thing that is okay, Hallmark, if you're listening, the only thing that is okay is that there was an article saying, they're making another movie for
know.
sure. And so that was the
Phew.
only thing that made me not die, because it's like, I don't trust you, Hallmark. You've traumatized me. So I don't trust you. Like, Hannah doesn't trust Mike right now. I don't trust you to not just leave us like this.
No, because there's a sense where you and I think a lot of other fans of this series, we had said, this is how you do a love triangle well. You do it, but then you end it one and you fully commit to the other. And then it's done and everybody had their little love triangle moment. But now we can confidently go into the future with Mike. Nope, can't do that.
It was just, yeah, I don't know why they decided to do this or who decided to green light it to be like this, because it's interesting choice.
A very, very interesting choice. And what I would like to hear from people maybe who would listen to this podcast or comment or something, did you like this? Did it make sense to you? Are you happy this happened? Are you upset that this happened? Like, now that I have watched it and recapped it like a week later, I want to go back and read all of these Twitters and, all of these hot takes that people had. But I mean, they've got me for another one. I'm definitely going to watch this other one, see how they reconcile it. But that was sad.
I was sad. And I just, even when I saw on Twitter, I was so shocked. I was like, how could they do this to us?
Yeah.
My heart is still bleeding openly from Travis and Amy. Like, I'm really sad. I'm genuinely sad about that. When I think about it, I literally get sad. Like, maybe that's ridiculous, but I literally get so sad that I'm never going to see them together. And it just ended so horribly. Like, that was traumatizing. This TV traumatizing.
TV, totally TV traumatized, manipulated my
emotions. Yeah. And so then they do this, and I'm like, I love Mike. I love Cameron more than I love Mike. Wonderful. And I couldn't believe it. And Dolores is gonna just flip it.
She's just gonna flip. That would be something to see Dolores be like, wait, what? You're making the wrong choice, and all of a sudden now be a Mike fan. That would be fun. But I think that they'd get back together. I really do think Hannah and Mike I just like them together as characters, but then I just love the chemistry that the two actors have together as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested because they kind of set it up, because I guess in the next one, A Zest for Death or whatever, I guess it's gonna be like someone Dolores knows, like is the one that's murdered. I was reading an article, and so I'm wondering if she's gonna be doing more undercover sleuthing or just more sleuthing with Hannah, because they kind of set up, that she was kind of into it. I mean, this will be, I guess, harder because it's going to be someone she knows. I don't know how close.
That's
someone she knows. So then she might be teaming up with Hannah to help her to find out who's there.
Well, that's kind of cool. Well, Dolores, bless her heart, already had dated a killer one time.
That's right. Remember that? Yeah, her boyfriend or wannabe fiance or
seemed like a great guy, but he just was not. Oh, Dolores, shoot. Well, I mean, I am a fan of the series, and I always will be. I didn't love the choice here at the end, probably because what you said exactly, the PTSD from Mystery 101.
It's still fresh. It's
still fresh. Yeah. Do not do that to me.
Yeah, please.
Don't ruin this. But I have every hope and every faith that they will make it right and just be this great series that we know that it is. And so when does that come out? The next one? Zest?
I don't know. They're gonna be filming it soon.
Okay.
But I guess in the article, Allison was making it sound like it might come out like this year, but I feel like it would have to be like in the fall, like maybe right before Christmas, like in October or something. Because we start October 20th.
Yes, wow.
Yeah, it might come out like maybe closer to the end because they have to film it.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to see these characters, have a conversation, talk about it. build trust back,
Yeah.
just show love and respect to each other,
Mhm.
and just be back to the Hannah and Mike that we just love and adore. Which is why I like this series. I thought before Hannah Swensen, Murder She Baked, I feel like was a cozy mystery series.
Mhm.
Now I feel like it doesn't feel so cozy.
Yes.
Specifically because of this, but even the last one, it has a different feel. Like you
It
can
does.
tell it's not the same location that they film. It's not as small of a town. It doesn't feel like that. They don't have those
Right.
little inquisitive ladies at the bakery,
Yeah,
like it's a small town. It feels bigger. And so it's
it
kind of
does.
lost some of that charm there. But it's a series I love. I love these actors. I love this cast. I
Mhm.
think it's a good series. So I just
Me
want them to
too.
make it right.
Me too. Just make it right. Make it right. None of us are getting any younger here. Like we just need a nice, happy romance. I had thought that this would be the movie that gets Hannah some sort of um job or official recognition on the police force. Like she solved so many crimes. Now she's dating Mike.
Yeah.
Um, I had wondered, like, I wonder if they're gonna make her some sort of honorary something or other, but
Or
it's
like
not good.
official, like, what do they call it?
Like
Shoot.
a consultant or something like
Consultant.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
that would be a way that I could see her and Mike move forward in harmony and peace with her interest in sleuthing and his job with detective work. They could partner officially.
Yeah. Because I mean, basically, for this case, like she was the one who found all the information and the only one who cared to find the information
Yeah,
about this body. I mean,
she
it's like she basically was
she
doing
did
it. I mean,
it.
she was bouncing stuff off the mic, but she was basically, doing it of her own accord, without like that many resources from the police. So, I mean, I feel like she's proved herself. I mean,
She totally has. She's proved herself. She needs to be a consultant, and I hope Mike goes to bat for her, and maybe that will win her heart, win her back. Maybe it'll win her back.
yeah.
Mhm.
That would be a big deal, a big gesture, a big thing to do for him to
Yeah,
really fight for her to have like consultant
yeah.
abilities
Authority.
and some access and
Mhm.
authority, so that she can do what she's good at and help solve these cases in this town where too many people die or get murdered. It's like, how many people in this town? This town is small. How many people just die? Like,
Well, at least this one was 25 years ago, at least.
yeah, that's true. This one was a
It's
cold
a
case.
cold
So
case.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
No,
Doesn't make
that's so true. Okay, if this doesn't happen in the next movie, then we have some fan fiction to write because this is a strong storyline. We could make this happen. But Anna, it was so fun to talk to you
so
about
fun.
this movie. We love this series, and hopefully we'll be back soon before the year ends, talking about the next
Yes,
one
hope so.
together. Yeah, be
Oh
good.
my gosh, yes, we need it. I want it. I need it.
Me too. I want to. I need
I
it.
need to know what book it's gonna be based off of so I can read.
Film it. Get it out. Get it on my TV. Let's go. Well, hey, in the meantime, as we wait for this movie, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at awscott21 on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. And hey, everyone you can still find me at Hallmark Comics, at Hallmark_comics. I'm not active so much anymore, but I still have all my old comics up there archived, and I don't have any plan to take them down soon. Hopefully I could revive some, but that would be fun to interact with you there on Instagram. Always, always follow Hallmarkies podcast all over social media, YouTube, Instagram. We have a website. What else? And iTunes, a merch store, all of these other things. You can follow, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review. We'd love to interact with you guys. So do that, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Bye.
Bye.